want to show you the Smart Sleeper Snoo Bassinet up close and give you my own personal thoughts and experience with it. So the Snoo was created by a pediatrician, which is great. And some of the claims they make is that it'll add 1 to 2 hours of sleep, that it's safer for baby because they're sleeping on their back, which can lower the risk of SIDS. It also claims to help calm fussing and actually sleep train more easily and help with that transition into the crib. And it is for babies 0 to 6 months that cannot roll over consistently. We did not have a Snoo for our first 2 babies, but we got to experience it with our third all the way through crib transition. So just to give you a quick overview, the Snoo has 1 to 5 levels of motion and sound that mimic the womb. It responds to babies crying and adjusts those levels to try and help soothe baby. It has breathable mesh walls, and it comes with a power cord, a mattress with a water-resistant cover, 3 sizes of ivory organic cotton Snoo sacks, 1 certified organic cotton sheet, comes with several booklets, and it also comes with a 9-month free premium app subscription if you make an authorized purchase. You can also buy add-ons for the feet that raise up the Snoo to help babies with reflux. It's also probably a good idea to buy more sheets and sleep sacks because babies have accidents. So it'd be good to have another size in your sleep sack because it comes with 1 small, medium, and large. The 4 legs of it come on and off really easy. You just line up the arrows and click it in, and then you just spin the screws down into the base. And then to remove it, you just undo the screws and you push the little gray flaps together and pull it out. We did end up taking the Snoo on a couple trips with us, so it made it nice and easy to just undo the legs, put everything in the Snoo, and it fit nicely in the trunk of our van. It does take up some space, but to us it was worth it at the time. Obviously you can't bring it on a plane, but it's something to consider if you travel a lot. I don't know how our baby would have done traveling without it, but she liked the Snoo and it was easy enough to bring it, so we did. The power cord plugs into the bottom, and then you can actually hide the cord along the leg. There's a little slot to just push it in, which is really nice and kept it out of the way. There's also a power button on it that allows you to manually turn it on and off. You can do this in the app as well. I usually push the button. I just get out of bed, push the button, and then push it again to start it. My husband used the app more on the other side of the bed, but it was convenient to have that manual start and stop. The elastic wings on the sleep sack actually have to be properly secured onto the clips or the Snoo won't even turn on. The sack has inner bands that secure the arms, and then you just zip it up. They also have little snaps on the side that you can put baby's arms through if you're not wanting to secure both their arms or one of their arms. There's a speaker that has an advanced algorithm that can tell when baby cries compared to other noises in the room, and I felt like it was very accurate. There really wasn't a time I can recall that it started moving without her actually crying. When you first plug the Snoo in, it'll blink white for about a minute because it's starting up. Once it's stopped blinking, it is done starting up and you can start the Snoo whenever you're ready. You just press it once and the light will turn blue, meaning it's working, it's in motion, it's turned on. If you press it again, it'll turn it off and it'll just be a solid white. So this is how it works. So when you swaddle the baby, you lay baby down about 2 to 3 inches higher than the neckline of the sack. And then you straighten their arms and you snugly secure the inner arm bands across their chest. Then you secure the leg flap and then you fully zip the sack up. The neckline should be well below baby's chin. Place baby with their feet closest to the activity button, and then you slide the loops securely over the clips. So when baby starts fussing, the Snoo will wait a few seconds to see if the baby will self-soothe. If the crying continues, then the Snoo will slowly increase the motion and sound until baby is either soothed or it'll stop after a couple minutes and mom and dad can tend to the baby. So the Snoo is always in motion unless you change those settings, but it has a baseline motion, and then if baby needs soothed, it increases the motion. So you can set your baseline speed and sound and it will adjust from there if baby cries. The app is great. It has a lot of great features. You can customize so many settings. It allows you to see reports of baby sleep, so you can see when their wake times were, when the Snoo was soothing them. You can see how they did throughout the night. It also allows you to control the motion and the sound, and you can customize those. There's a motion limiter, which prevents the Snoo from going above levels 1 and 2. Which you have to use when baby is under 1 month old because it's just the higher motions are just too much when they're little. But it's a great feature to have where it just stops at level 2, and then if baby doesn't respond, then it'll stop completely and then mom and dad can respond. You can also adjust the sensitivity it has to baby's crying, so maybe it doesn't start the motion until baby's crying a little louder. There's like a car motion option, which is kind of cool. It just plays with the motion a little bit. There's just so many things you can do in the app. It's really neat. But we really liked the ability to see if we weren't in the room, we would get a notification on our phone saying the Snoo is soothing Kyla. If we stepped outside or something for a second, I don't even know if we brought the camera with us everywhere because our app would just tell us if Kyla is being soothed. And with the weaning mode, it does not start the motion unless she's crying. So it gets her used to not moving, and then it'll move if it's necessary, and then that just weans her into being able to go into the crib. So just to share some thoughts and concerns that we had. I know it can vary family to family, so just some things to consider and then compare it to what your family needs. So one thing I really worried about is if baby would just become dependent on it if we were using it, because we travel a lot. We never really didn't have it until she was transitioned. So it wasn't a problem for us as far as her becoming dependent on it and that being an issue when we weaned her from it. We did not see that as a problem, at least in our experience. And I was really worried about it. I was worried that they're like, oh, you know, you can use the weaning mode and it'll just be this smooth transition. I was like, that sounds great, but is it realistic? But at least for our baby, it worked smoothly. I remember texting my sisters the first time she was sleeping in it and it wasn't moving. And I was just like, I actually can't believe this. I expected that she would want to be moving, but I just tried to slowly transition her with naps. I would do naps without the motion and the weaning mode. And then at nighttime, she still had the motion. And then eventually we moved it to the weaning for both naps and nighttime. And yeah, it worked. We didn't have a problem with it. So that was a worry I had that, at least for us, was not a concern. A couple more things to think about is it is hard to store when you're not using it. It's big. You use it for 6 months and then it takes up a lot of space. But if you're gonna have more babies, worth it. If you can share it with a friend, amazing. That is how we got ours. Also, something to consider is power outages. So if you don't have power, the SNOO's not gonna work. That didn't happen to us. And I didn't really think about it too much until later, but you know, I don't know if that's gonna make or break the decision to buy it or not, but it's just something to consider. It works with the power, and if the power is not on, it's not gonna work. And then yes, if you travel a lot, you can't bring it on an airplane, so maybe having a balance, even from the beginning, maybe baby sleeps in a regular crib or, you know, pack and play, and then at night you use the SNOO. But I can confidently say that we saw a difference in our first 2 babies' sleep and Kyla's sleep. She slept better, she slept longer. There were several instances that she woke up that the SNOO did soothe her that we would have been up with the other 2 babies. I wouldn't say it was some crazy magical difference by any means. I think she still woke up several times. We just didn't have to tend to her as much as we did with the others. And you know, even if it is only a slight difference and it's only that 1 to 2 hours, it's amazing how 1 to 2 hours can make such a difference. I knew about this bassinet with my first 2, but we weren't sure if it was worth the money. And I remember specifically having several nights, like in the middle of the night, like I'm rocking them and I'm looking through the SNOO website again, like how much was that to rent again? My little sister just had a baby and I had messaged her and she lives across the country. I was like, do you wanna try the SNOO? And she's like, no, that's okay, because she had already had one. And she's like, we're just gonna do what we did with our firstborn and it'll be fine. But then a month or 2 in, she messaged me, she's like, any chance we could still try it? It's definitely in the back of your mind in the middle of those difficult nights. And even that one time in the night that it soothed baby back to sleep without you having to get up can make a big difference when you're tired. Also for me, it gave me a lot of peace of mind. That was worth it for me just because of how anxious I can get. I liked having the app, I liked having the notifications, I liked having her on her back. So is it ultimately worth it? It really depends on your budget and your expectations. I wouldn't purchase it being like, great, now we've just like checkmark sleep, not a problem, good, let's move on. You might be very disappointed. But if you go in with the expectation that it can help and that it can make a difference and it's gonna give you peace of mind, then you'll probably find a lot of value in it. Would I buy it for full price? Maybe. And I say maybe because I don't know if I would pay full price and then just, that's it. But the resale is so good on it that if you can resell it and then you just think about the amount you actually had to invest in it, I think so. But there's so many options. You can purchase at full price, you can wait for a sale. They have a lot of sales throughout the year, which is a great time. You can rent it. You can also look on Marketplace for used ones, or hopefully you could friend share too, which is what happened to us. I had been eyeballing the SNOO for 2 babies, and then my friend texted me and she's like, hey, have you heard of this? Like, yes, I have heard of this. She's like, would you like to try it? Yes, I would love to try it. I have to pass this on because it's just such a gift, you know, like a friend circle or like sisters or just like within the family can be an investment for all around. If I could go back in time to our first baby and purchase it, I would 100% go back in time and purchase it. I knew we wanted more kids I just felt like it was a big price tag. But now after having experienced our firstborn and experiencing how it was for us those first 6 months, and you know, the anxieties that I had randomly throughout the night, I feel like I half slept all the time and just look and like wait to see if he was breathing and go back to sleep. But anyway, I hope that this was helpful. I have a really hard time sitting here being like, buy this super expensive bassinet, but also telling you don't buy this super expensive bassinet. I really think it's worth it if you can find a deal, especially like find a sale, find it on Marketplace, anything like that. Definitely worth it, at least in my experience. But again, I can't know your baby, and the hard part is you can't know your baby either until it's here. So it's not a black and white answer. If you can afford it, go for it. If it's really, really, really pushing it, you will survive without it. Trust me, we did just fine. I would say to go for it if you can. Put it on your registry, do it as like a group gift. Let me know your thoughts, questions, anything in the comments. If you've tried it before, how it worked for you, if you recommend it. Hit that like and subscribe button for more, and thank you so much for watching.